Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
and today we're going to be talking about winter and EVs. But first, we're going to roll that title.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We wanted to talk a little bit about winter because I'm experiencing winter right now. It's we're getting a snowstorm as we speak, and I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about EVs and winterization, range, charging abilities. And this particular article, that of course we've linked below, is an article from a test that CAA produced. And if you don't know what CAA is, that's Canadian Automobile Association, obviously linked with the American Automobile Association, that provides coverage across North America. But this particular test was performed in sub-zero temperatures in the area of Ottawa and Mount Tremblant in Quebec. So this is a cold weather area of Canada in the winter, obviously. And they took a number of different EVs, ranging from, say, the Chevy Silverado EV, Model 3, the Polestar 2, Kia EV9, Ford Mustang Mach-E, the Chevy Equinox, Honda Prelog, Kia Niro, Ioniq from Hyundai, the Toyota BZ4X, Volvo XC40 Recharge even. And they tested them over a series of days, looking at how much range loss. That was one of the things they wanted to find out. Could you expect in sub-zero temperatures? Now, Casey, you're no stranger to cold weather. Maybe not as much as I am, but you've noticed, of course, in your vehicle that range loss is a thing in the winter, right?
Yeah, mostly the closer to below freezing I get, it becomes more noticeable, especially if
Right.
there's any sort of wind. But it's not as bad as people say it is unless you're towing in it, which
Yeah, towing and sub-zero temperatures, which they did not address in this particular survey or test. But that is really something that can knock the efficiency down off the chart quite quickly.
oh, yeah. So what I'd find is, remember, my car doesn't have a heat pump, nor does yours.
No,
Um, so because the way ours make heat, they can't just take advantage of what they did to continue to make heat. They have to
just use the radiant heater. That's all we can do.
right, like it's a basically electric arc through water, and it has to keep it up until it keeps making heat beyond the seat heaters and the steering wheel heater, which
Yeah.
also came after your car.
Now, what was
Uh,
kind of interesting was that in this particular test that they performed here, the CAA performed in Ottawa region, was
mhm.
that the top dog, two of them actually tied for top position, were the Chevy Silverado EV at a loss of only 14%, and the Polestar 2 at a loss of 14% as well.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
did they preheat the batteries or inside a garage or something?
Well, from the photo and the article, it looks like they were just testing them outside. So I'm not sure if they were preheating or not, or just leaving them for a period of time and then driving a certain course and seeing what the actual numbers were after the drive.
So what's interesting about these particular vehicles is the GM's got a gigantic battery, even
True.
though it's pretty big. The Kia Hyundai group, they like to do themselves some aerodynamics and rolling resistance and all that stuff that we associate with Tesla and Lucid as far as like just the competing for the ultimate. But
But
they
yet,
just don't.
but yet the Polestar
Oh,
has
sorry, the
a
Polestar.
relatively even sized battery to say the Model 3, which ended up with a 30% loss according to the test.
Oh, did they say what year it was?
They do not they did not pick a year. From the photo, it looks like it was not the new style. So
So, yeah, chrome or black?
It's not in the picture. It's black.
Okay. So it can go either way on that. But if it was chrome, then we know it would be like yours. Where it
You know
doesn't have.
what? Looking at the headlights in this
Yeah.
photo, it looks like it is the new version.
Oh, it's got
It's
the
a Highland. It's a
oh, the
Highland
Highland. Okay.
version. Yeah.
All
So
right.
that particular mod. So I'm kind of surprised at the 30% loss in this particular test.
Yeah.
Key EV9, 20% loss. Volkswagen ID4, 28%. The Equinox at 34% loss. The Mustang at 31% loss. The Prologue, 24% loss. The F-150 Lightning, a 35% loss. Ioniq 5, 36% loss. Toyota, 37% loss on the BZ4X. And the Volvo, whopping 39% for the XC40 Recharge.
That's close to half. Wow. So
Uh-huh.
so I wasn't too concerned even when they were higher than I was expecting because they were nowhere near the 50% loss in the snow, except for
Right.
that one.
Well,
uh,
they still got 11% to go, but yes, that's a fairly high amount. Yeah.
I'm curious now at this point if they did any of the stuff that we do as owners to minimize that, or if they just got
Well,
in and rolled.
I'm not sure if they followed their own advice because, of course, later in the article, they also tested for charging in the cold. So they said,
I
okay, if we had a cold vehicle, a stone cold vehicle, what would be the amount of range that we could collect in a 15-minute session on a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger? And this, of
Mhm.
course, was a third-party charger. It wasn't a Tesla charger, and they wanted to test that for 15 minutes, and the results were kind of interesting, although slanted. Tesla Model 3 came out ahead anyways at 205 kilometers collected in that 15-minute span. But they do note that the Tesla could only collect 150 kilowatt hours because of the adapter that had to be used.
So they were
So
using the
so
150.
if this Model 3 was at a regular Tesla charger, that amount of mileage would have increased because it would have been able to collect a higher kilowatt.
Full 250, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, but even in this test, with that limitation, the Model 3 was number one. Next, the Silverado EV with just under 200 kilometers. Equinox with 131 kilometers. Polestar 120 kilometers. Ford Lightning 100 kilometers. And now we're starting to get into the lower ones, all the way down to the Toyota BZ4X,
I knew it
a
would be that one.
whopping 19 kilometers collected over 15 minutes of charging time.
So just barely over a kilometer a minute.
Yep.
That's why that guy from Canada was suing them.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, there is an issue with cold weather that Toyota has to address in their next iteration of vehicle, or they're going to be left behind.
But this guy and the magazine or group here testing this both should be happy because initially they said below 32. Fred,
That's
we
right.
get nothing.
And this is
They got
Sub-Zero. We're below 32, definitely. Yep. Now, as your question was, what things did they actually apply to get to these? Well, at the bottom of the article, and again, the article is linked below if you want to go to it. But they offer tips to help maximize EV range in cold weather. I'm not sure if they followed exactly these things. They state that you should precondition the vehicle, warm the cabin, and while the car's still plugged in to preserve that battery charge.
we want to
Uh,
power.
rem- Remove snow and ice. Clearing excess snow and ice reduces weight and aerodynamic drag and helps extend the range. Use those
Reliability.
heated seats and steering wheels because they consume less energy than, of course, heating the entire cabin to a certain temperature. And here's one that some people don't remember is that park that vehicle in your garage at night or underground if you're at an apartment, because that's going to allow the batteries to keep at a warmer temperature than it would if it's outside facing the freezing cold wind just in the open air.
Definitely.
And I've noticed that's a big thing. If you have the ability to put your car in a garage when the sub temperatures come, it can definitely improve your range because the car is warmer when you start your day.
Yep. And if you're used to driving around near freezing, you need to pay attention to your vehicle. Driving near freezing is not the same as sub-zero. It's a whole nother animal. It may feel the same as driving, but if you look at your energy meter, it's going to be a different animal.
And some of the, I guess, some of the things that CAA would like to see is maybe advocating on those EV stickers about the energy consumption of a vehicle, similar to what gas vehicles have. They would like to see some cold weather flagging on those stickers as well. Maybe made in Canada type EV labeling system that would show a temperature of maybe you know 20 degrees Fahrenheit or -5, and show what the ranges are and the charging is for that vehicle in those type of conditions, as opposed to optimal conditions, which is what they currently show for the vehicles on those sales stickers on the car.
It's an adjusted figure. It's not purely what they got in the lab because then these things look great. Oh, it's 600-mile Model 3, 11 and a half minutes, and zero to 60 is like 2 seconds. Because what they do is the same thing they do with the gas cars, and they run the tests in a whole bunch of conditions, and then they average them, and then the manufacturer has a choice to put it even lower. Uh, Typically, Tesla has left it where it was, and some of the ones you hear about where everybody's able to beat the number or at least match it, they were the ones pushing it down.
Yep.
Under promise, over deliver, as we talked about on the weekly live stream. And hopefully Tesla is doing that now, but we'll see. So what I would think would be more effective, so you don't end up with a Monroney that's bigger than the window, because on some cars it already is bigger than the window. The Monroney is the window sticker that comes with the car. Um, Perhaps put a little QR code on there that you can take a picture of it, and it'll show you the different ranges. Like here's
Yeah.
cold, Death Valley. Here's optimal. By optimal, just the regular old test like you see on the sticker, just so you can reference the sticker to these other conditions. And then they maybe put some sliders in, so you can do some scenarios like, hey, I charge at night, or I charge in the wind, and then you can just get a feel for what's out there based on the data they were able to collect.
Yeah, it's a good idea. The QR code would allow them to lead people to a website where there can be multiple information, but we still need some sort of standardization so you can compare apples to apples, because some manufacturers will take a rosy view of it, some will take a realistic view, some will, you know, throw an
I
oddball statistic into it. So I would say that if you could pick some temperatures that are standard across the board and
Yeah,
say like three of them: hot,
yeah,
nominal, and cold, and
yeah.
pick those numbers. It's cold is somewhere between -5 degrees Celsius and -10 degrees Celsius, and nominal is 20 degrees Celsius, and
Whatever it
hot is 40.
Yeah,
Death Valley, like you said. So
yeah. So
I,
so
I
so then just pick those 3 or whatever they happen to be, you got the sticker, and then you got the cold and the hot. And then if you want to slide the sliders, just change the color of the thing so that people don't start trying to mislead, say, "Oh, look, this one only goes 7 miles of charge," and, like, you'll see that it's pink, and then you'll say, "Huh, what did you customize to get the 7? I can't even get the sliders to go there."
right, right.
Yeah,
And
and
for
then if you
those and for those that are that get bothered by their friends or relatives that say, "Why is your car losing 30% in the winter?" Also, keep in mind that their gas cars are losing somewhere between 15 and 16% as well.
yeah.
So they're not coming out of this totally scot free in the winter months as well. They're suffering along as well. They maybe not as much, but still, 15% is nothing to sneeze at. You're certainly losing gas over the car trying to warm up just to be to operating temperature.
Well, I mean, you can it's harder to notice on them, but sometimes it is just as high or worse, because you've got all the same stuff that makes the EV go more poorly in the wintertime. Plus, cold air holds more more air to fuel mixture. So depending on what your technology is on your fuel injection, it might dump more fuel in, or it might roll it back and run a little leaner or something. But it's in there. But when you're starting with the equivalent of anywhere from a half gallon to a gallon and a half, 2 gallons of gas, your EVs from the smallest to among the largest, versus a minimum of 5 gallons to 18, 20 gallons for just a regular car. 30% of both of those is much different, and you can notice it.
Exactly. What do you think out there? Do you experience winter loss? Is it much in your mind? Do you care? I'd like to see it in the comments below. Let us know what you think. And if you get ribbed by family members or friends about losing that type of range off your vehicle, or does family or friends even know about it? Put it in the comments. Let us know. Love to see what your particular situation is and what kind of feedback you're getting from friends and family.
And on our previous plugins, Mark and I had volts. There was a point where it just got to a certain temperature, and they would just turn the engine on anyway. So it
Yep.
wasn't a matter of your electric range.
Yep, they wanted to warm you up. Although Gen 2 got better, it was you could set it at a minus 10 Celsius amount, so that was nice. But
25 Fred.
yeah, exactly. But
Okay.
with that, I think we will wrap it up tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already, please give us that thumbs up. Press that subscribe button, helps us out immensely. And you can follow us through the week at the Tesla Life if you would like. Casey, any shout outs at the end of the show?
Yeah, catch us in 2 days if you're watching this live when it comes out. Catch us in 2 days at the Tesla live show on 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Everyone out there, have yourselves a great day or evening, and we will talk together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.
Good night.